This is Harewood House in the county of Yorkshire, England. A spectacular 18th century stately home surrounded by glorious countryside. People come from all over the world to marvel at English architecture of this kind. Before arriving, I suspected it may have been infected by the anti-British woke ideology. Unfortunately, before I even entered the building, it was clear this was the case. This grotesque sign saying radical acts is deliberately of a modern design, an act of defiance. There is no other plausible reason anyone would put such a sign here, which seems so completely out of place. It only gets worse once inside. After passing through numerous stunning rooms, we came to this one. It had a series of full-length banners, all with a left-wing political message, including this one saying "Kill the Bill." This banner next to it, which says "Dignity in Labour, all work is skilled work," clearly is marxist, as it looks like it's just come straight out of Stalin's Russia. Then onto the library, where we came across this abomination. Seems to be a bar of some kind, complete with a table and chairs made from old bits of scrapwood, metal, and other junk. Again, an act of defiance. The room itself is absolutely stunning, yet this eyesore has been planted right in the middle. Its creators wanted to express their hatred of the room and house by building a bar from bright yellow wooden pallets, all metal signs, and buckets for lampshades. This room, like the entire house, symbolises Western traditional values, standards of beauty and grandiosity, and it is that which they hate. There are political statements here, too. This sign says, "Exile all the Tories to the South Atlantic." And just above that is another sign saying, "I love Europe." These people are on the far left of the political spectrum. Why would they need to put any of this on display in a beautiful stately home that is open to the public? Well, because they are activists busily engaged in forcing their ideology on every area of society. Walking on, we came to this magnificent games room. Above the fireplace is a portrait of the owner and creator. Below it, in the middle of the room, is a modern table and chairs with a set of dominoes on it, which at the time I thought looked anachronistic. Lo and behold, this was also ideological. This is the sign to explain the exhibit. Dominoes are an intrinsic part of Jamaican culture. Introducing a domino table alongside the games table of Harewood's permanent collection is a corrective act of representation. We are playing dominoes before the portrait of Edwin Lascelles, who built Harewood House. For me, placing this installation here is a celebration of a positive black with a capital B, narrative within a historically inaccessible environment. There is a tension between the origins of this location and the potency of British Caribbean voices in contemporary society that I find inherently radical. Today we play together in one room, a shared society. This rant was by a so-called artist by the name of Mac Collins. Well, I'm afraid I beg to differ. The paintings on the wall and the decor are art. Maybe I'm missing something, but shoving a table and chairs that looks like it's come from IKEA in the middle of the room is hardly art, and it requires no talent at all. Where do I start on this? People come here to see a grand English stately home in all its magnificent opulence, yet this person deems it fit to use this space to place Jamaican culture directly under the portrait of the owner. Again, this person is clearly an activist with an ideological agenda. Now, let's pick apart this utter nonsense. Corrective act or representation? An act of retribution is what it really means. He sees himself as taking revenge on behalf of the slaves by saying to the owner, "Look, dead racist white man, you owned slaves and built this house on that wealth, and look now, here is a domino table representing those black slaves right in front of your portrait, and there is nothing you could do about it. I hope you are turning in your grave. Up yours, slave owner." The table and chairs are not part of the original furniture, therefore they should not be there. He has taken it upon himself to place them there to make an ideological statement that he wants shoved down the public's throat. What next? Take all the paintings down and replace them with random paintings of Black people, will that also be a corrective act of representation? Maybe just redecorate the entire building in an African design? Maybe even change its name to an African sounding one? No doubt they would do all these things if they thought they could get away with it. This is a concerted effort to decolonise. There is nothing wrong with informing people that it was built on wealth attained from slavery, but changing the entire house to reflect the culture of those slaves is an act of revenge. Let's be clear on that. Where does this madness stop? I wonder if the owner of the house is aware he has let the wolves in through the door. These people are employed to work there and have infiltrated his house. If he continues to allow this infection to grow, it will only get worse. And all of this nonsense is rejected by the visitors who pay to look around. The person who I visited with, who is an ethnic minority, spent hours absorbing every artistic detail of every room, clearly mesmerised by its beauty. She noticed one of these political statements momentarily. She sniggered and said, and I quote, "Who cares about this when there is all this beauty?" Then she just got straight back to exploring the house with a massive smile on her face. I wish Sir Roger Scruton could have been here to see her face. Everything he said and believed was shown to be true right there and then in her words, and perhaps more pertinently, her facial expressions.